decided to try it on Xbox first and see if it really bothered me.
Yeah.
And when I first booted it up, it was really noticeable that it was only 30 frames. But after like, I don't know, 10 minutes, I completely stopped noticing.
Okay.
And I had like a moment where it was all like so smooth, quote unquote, because it is obviously framed locked, so how smooth could it be? But it looked so smooth at like certain parts after like I was playing for like an hour or whatever. I was like, damn, dude, this game looks good. And then I like realized as I was thinking that, I was like, wait a second, I'm playing on console. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Go on.
I saw just a little bit ago, right before you jumped in, I was looking around online, and I saw 30 minutes ago Digital Foundry released their tech kind of overview, and they chose to do it on Series X. So I'm curious to see what that looks like, because I've heard good things. Like, it looks really nice on console, I think.
Yeah, I'm genuinely really surprised, especially kind of coming off a little bit of a console kick here lately. I've kind of been on my console a little bit more. Not playing 30 frame locked games, so I thought for sure it would be a little more jarring.
Yeah.
I haven't booted up on PC yet just because I'm scared I'll like it a little too much.
It's kind of hard to go back and forth. Yeah, I would say, like, if you're liking it as it is, you may as well just stick with it, because switching between a 60 FPS and a 30 FPS experience, you'll probably notice the 30 FPS a lot more.
Yeah, my PC is right next to my TV, and I have really, really long HDMI cables, so I've thought about just like putting my PC on my TV and running it like 60 frames on my TV. I did that with Cyberpunk when that came out, and that was a fun time.
Was it? Man.
Yeah.
Fucking controller players, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
B-Paul's also doing a controller on PC. I don't know.
What? I mean, what's wrong with that, man?
Nothing. No, nothing. Yeah,
it's
you're
not
right.
a sweaty game. There's no reason to sweat.
That's true. I don't know. I just sometimes I like accuracy. You know, sometimes I just want to aim at a guy's head and do that easily without thinking about it too much. I don't know. I assume the auto aim in Starfield is pretty generous.
Honestly, no. It's been kind of like annoying trying to get the sensitivity right and stuff. It kind of took me like multiple attempts.
Oh, really?
Of like, let me play like this for a little bit and see how that feels. Oh, no, it's still not quite right. Where I have it now, it is finally like perfect. All the sensitivity and stuff is just like exactly how I would want it.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like there either isn't an like aim assist or it's not very good. One of the two. I don't know which one, but yeah, it's like rough.
I think the last time I played a Bethesda game on a controller, it was Skyrim, which I think makes sense. I think that game makes sense on a controller. Like, most of the time you're just swinging your arms around anyway. But I don't know. If the gun is involved, especially if it's in first person, I want mouse aim. That's it. But when I'm in the ship, I'm always like, will this be more fun with a controller? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'll do controller or anything. You know, that's just me. I play Baldur's Gate with a controller. So
I heard that was pretty cool though.
It's really well done. I was like, I genuinely thought it was going to be dog shit. I just kind of did it just to like see.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, this is actually really cool. The way you like, I don't know, engage with the game is just so different because I don't know, just the way you can walk around and move the camera with like the controller, it gives you like a different vibe than when you swap over to mouse and keyboard. But
it's like playing Dragon Age. That was I was like watching somebody play it and I was like, damn, dude, this is like fucking Dragon Age. Like,
yeah, it is.
I could do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about it. When I saw that, I was like, oh shit, because
Yeah.
the camera, honestly, like, there's not even really an improvement to mouse and keyboard in that game overall. I mean, I don't know, clicking around on things in the UI is kind of nice sometimes, but like,
Yeah.
but the camera in that game is fucked up. And when you're in mouse and keyboard zoomed out mode, because like you're trying to like change layers, you're trying to like, okay, now I want to see what's on the floor above me, and it's like freaking out. Or like I'm trying to zoom my camera away to see what's going on over here, and it's freaking the fuck out. So there's not even really an advantage to doing it that way, insofar as this game is concerned. I mean, I don't know. Could imagine playing
there were certain things where it's like, okay, I literally can't find the button for this, and I know what the keybind is, so I'm just gonna like do that really quick. There was a few things like that in Baldur's Gate where it's like, okay, well, I genuinely don't know what controller users do right now, but luckily the keyboard's right there, so yeah, it all worked out. But
that's cool.
Did you finish Baldur's Gate yet?
No, we're back. Did you?
No, I'm at the beginning. I don't like playing it by myself though. That's the issue.
Oh, okay. Who have you been playing with?
I mean, nobody. That's the other issue. Is like,
oh, I see.
All the people I've started the game with have like
fucked off.
Yeah, just I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
I wasn't able to acquire a consistent partner. And I don't like the game alone. I just don't. I don't like controlling multiple people. I don't like making all the decisions. I like doing that as a group. I like doing the role play D&D thing. You know, I don't want to play 4 D&D characters by myself in a D&D session. Who the fuck wants to do that?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. That's just me. I don't want to do
it. It's interesting. I'm kind of with you. I was having this conversation with B Paul, who I'm playing through the game with. I was like, there are a million things that have happened in this game that would never have happened if I was playing this by myself. Like,
right. Yeah.
We made the decision that we weren't going to save scum pretty much entirely. Like, we were like, for the most part, I mean, there were a couple glitches and things that kind of fucked us over. Right. That
accidents notwithstanding, I assume like anything that's like, okay, well, that wasn't.
But if we make a choice, like a conscious choice, we're not gonna go back on that. And well, I mean, you could call this a conscious choice, maybe yes or no, but I was buying something from a vendor at the start of that game, and B-Paul decided to creep up behind him and pick his pocket, and he got caught. And then it escalated from there into us murdering the entire tiefling camp.
Yeah.
And from that point on, things were about to go more interestingly than I think we had anticipated, right? Like, from everybody I've talked to, we're the only ones who went that path. So, there's some stuff there. I will say this. I think I agree with you in the sense that like playing with somebody else, bouncing thoughts off of each other, having like that, the ability to split control of the party and only have to think about a couple of characters as opposed to 4 characters or whatever is really nice. I definitely feel like I've missed things because it's been in co-op. Like I haven't like. We'll have a conversation and, B-Paul will have started it a little before I could get there. You know what I mean? Or like I was doing something else and all of a sudden, oh, fuck, he's in the middle of like he walked into a room and somebody's talking to him or, we're not all reading every note that we come across in the way that I would in like a single player game. So it's like a completely different experience, honestly.
And I mean, the way I look at it too isn't like typical co-op video games where maybe that type of stuff you just mentioned isn't even like you don't even have to worry about it. It just does all that for you. You all see all the dialogue. You all, are a part of the whole thing by design. Whereas this is like, a D&D campaign, at least how I see it. And it's just like, you would never...
You're never going to see everything.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, but like, I guess even that's still kind of weird for like the dialogue stuff. Like you would kind of hear all the dialogue in a D&D campaign. I don't know.
Well,
That is kind of one of my little gripes about the game. I do kind
yeah,
of wish it would like pull you into the dialogue and then give you the option to get out of it if you were doing
sure.
something more important.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of my little gripes.
It's kind of, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it is kind of like D&D in the sense that like if you in D&D, if you split the party, like let's say you're trying to be more efficient with your time, two people go somewhere, two people go somewhere else or whatever. The reality is that yeah, you'll hear the conversation that's happening, but you don't get to contribute, and you definitely don't,
Right.
you know. I mean, it is very like it is very D&D-esque in that way, and I think embracing that is what I recommend in terms of enjoying the game. But like, talk to somebody like Mossberg, and he feels completely differently. I mean, he save scums constantly, and is like trying to min max and do all this stuff like you would a video game, right? As opposed to a D&D campaign where that's not even an option. So
Yeah.
I mean, I want to. Well, here's what I'm thinking. Like, unfortunately, I do not have. I mean, the reason I'm still not done with it is mostly because my schedule is fucking terrible. But
It seems like you'll get to play a decent amount, even though you're, other than when you're traveling.
yeah, we get like a day a week where we really go at it.
Yeah.
Generally, I mean, or it's either that or it's split. Like it's like 2 hours here and there, right? Which, depending on who you are, that's infuriating to some people. B-Paul's fine with it, luckily, but yeah, I mean, we're finishing this playthrough, and I intend to start another one. So if you want to do that together, I'm down for that because I think
I'll definitely be down.
I think we could probably do things a lot differently from how I have done it in my current campaign. I think I'd like to play like a non-spellcaster. I'm a little bit tired of hurling spells, honestly. But so how far is like you're in Act 1 still, like basically very beginning?
Yeah, for sure. I'm past or at the part where I'm like with the tieflings and the druids.
Okay. Yeah, so super early, like basically beginning of the game.
Yeah, I've started with like 3 different groups of people, and we've all made it like right there, and then it all fell apart.
Yeah, I played a little bit of that. Like I did it originally with B-Paul, and then I went back and played a little bit myself, like by myself, just and got to that exact part and didn't continue that game. But I was like, okay, like at that point in time, I feel like the game feels so massive. Like there's something about like the weight of whatever you're about to undertake. It just feels like there's so much shit to see and do. There's like so many people to talk to. At that point in time, I felt like the game was like extremely overwhelming. And I think every time I went to a new zone, I kind of continued to feel that way. Which I guess is to say like, just as like an overall impressions, I think that game is amazing and infuriating all the time. It's like one of the best games I've ever played until you run into a glitch or a bug that like I don't want to. We can get off of this topic because I don't want to spoil things and whatever. But I'll just say this: B-Paul and I are in kind of mid to late Act 3, which I think is the end of the game, and we did like a major boss fight, and I don't know what happened, but the boss just stood there and took it, like just glitched out, and was just like standing stock still the entire time. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what, like, I mean,
takes you out of it a little bit.
Like, the game's huge, and I understand that there's a lot of things that they weren't going to get to test for, or, or there's a lot of variables that break things in games like this. So I'm not super surprised, but it, that magnitude of glitch, like, this is one of the main antagonists of the video game. Like, to get to that fight and it just be them standing there, is kind of weird. Anyway, whatever. Good game. Baldur's Gate 3. If you haven't played it, I recommend it. Also, you're listening to the Nerd Orgy podcast network. Um, yeah, this is the Infinite Scale podcast. I am William Chandler, as always, joined by Chris Crossley. This long intro brought to you by Baldur's Gate 3 in stores or sponsored.
Finally.
All it took was buying the video game and then talking about it. Who knew?
Yeah. Who would have thought?
So I know there's something we need to talk about, which we kind of mentioned at the earlier part, but
Sure.
But before we get there, I just want to. Have you been like? Did you like tune in to the Gamescom thing, or like have you been like looking at any of the news recently on?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. I've caught wind of things, but I haven't like sat down and like, all right, let me see what all,
Yeah.
I haven't like really taken it in.
I feel like the biggest thing that's happened in recent memory is that as of, I don't know, was this Thursday? Volition Studios was closed.
Okay.
Which is terribly sad. That's a 30-year developer. They started off
Yeah. A casualty of Embracer Group's big restructuring. Man, maybe I shouldn't have bought so many fucking studios.
Yeah, they embraced a lot of people.
Group. Yeah.
Suikoden
1 and 2 HD remaster delayed out of 2023. No, I didn't even know it was real. And it's delayed. Sorry.
I love that you for Volition you're like, and then you're like, Suikoden 1 and 2 remaster. Oh my god, no.
This is important. This is one of the best RPGs ever made and never played.
Oh man, that shit's still coming out, dude.
Yeah, thank God.
But now that now that Volition's closed down, we'll never get another Red Faction game. Maybe, I don't know.
No, somebody owns the IP.
I think Embracer Group does now. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, so anything's possible, bro.
Saints
Eventually,
Row.
Microsoft will own it, and then they'll bring it back.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It's crazy though. I mean, it's wild because like they, in some form or another, have existed as long as we've been alive. Like Volition started in 1993 as a different name, and then took the name Volition in '96, according to this story from The Verge that I read. But I mean they created Red Faction. I mean they created Saints Row. It was a big deal.
I didn't realize that was the Saints Row people too.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And I think honestly, like, in my opinion, this feels very directly related to the failure of Saints Row, the reboot.
Yeah, that adds up.
Which was a very bad game.
Yeah, exactly. That was very uninspired and a huge failure from what I understand. It came out, right? It's not like not out yet.
No, yeah, that came out, and the fact that you're asking means that
exactly. Yeah,
made absolutely no impact. Yeah, I mean it came out. I actually didn't even play it until semi recently when I was at B Paul's house like a few months ago. He had it on PS5 or something, and I booted it up, and I stopped like 45 to an hour in. I was like, I can't take this.
Yeah.
But this is sad. I mean, a bunch of people are going to lose their jobs. It's they're one of the only developers not on East or West Coast. Like they were in Illinois, which I think now means that the last studio, like I think there's like a couple still in Chicago area. So it's like, I think NetherRealm is still in Chicago, I think. And the ones who, there was like the World of Tanks guys, I think, are in Chicago. or
God
like
bless.
one of their if they have multiple offices, I'm not sure, but one of their offices is in Chicago.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's actually a tank. It's pretty cool.
oh, the office is just a tank.
Yeah.
I would believe you, honestly.
So while we're on topic, sort of.
Yep.
Speaking of companies restructuring and letting people go. My job recently lost 80% of its business because gun laws changed and gun production got cut down significantly. And their restructuring involved me losing my job.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is
yeah.
I feel like I should have known this before we started recording.
No, I've been really low key about it just because I've been stressed out, and I kind of shut down when I'm stressed out, and I just focus on figuring things out, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been pretty low key about it, and you were out of town too when I found out. But fucking, I've never in my life been more like, damn, dude, maybe we should start our own business. You know what I mean? Like, this fucking sucks. But I've gotten things all kind of figured out now, and things should be all right. But yeah, dude, that's never happened to me before. That fucking shit sucks.
Yeah, that's actually insane. 80% loss of business is
it was huge.
Pretty
they
devastating.
Let go of, like, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. Man, so you found work then?
Yeah, I actually can't talk about it yet. I'm sure I could talk about it to you and it wouldn't be an issue. Like, you're not going to go fucking telling anybody, but I'm just, I don't know, weirdly superstitious about things like that. So I'm just not going to talk about it until I start working. But yeah, I do have a thing figured out, and I'll be on the same schedule and making more money. So
nice.
And I got like 2 weeks off because of it,
Sure.
The in between jobs part. So I get to play a fuck ton of Starfield. So it looks like it's all going to work out for the best. But in that moment, like when I got the call and was like freaking out internally, all I could think about was just like, man, I should have just started my own business sooner.
Yeah.
Like, why did I, like, why
You're starting a game development studio. You heard it here first, folks.
Dude, I'll do whatever, man. I'm so tired of working for the man. I want to be the man.
Yeah.
And it's always like one of those things that's like been in the back of my mind. I've never just wanted to work for somebody else my whole life. I've always wanted to, build my own thing and or build a thing with people. It's just,
Now
where to begin.
I completely understand. Yeah, it's always a money issue. Really is the basis.
For sure.
I mean, like to start a business and do things that you want to do, you have to have some capital and or find a way to get it. And those alone can be that can be challenging. It's so I'm glad to hear that you're working things out and you've got something in the works. I'm excited to hear what that is, because hopefully it's more fun than. I mean, that's I think the worst part about working is like you're just never that into it. Like I'm definitely not. Like I'm not like, yeah, dude, I'm so excited to wake up and go to work today. Like, fuck no. Like I'm this long weekend. I'm like so stoked. Like, so yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it's impossible to segue from here.
I can segue.
Okay, go ahead.
BioWare laid off a fuck ton of people recently, dude.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
which is scary.
They did. That's a good segue. I totally forgot about that. I blocked that out of my brain because I love BioWare so much, and anything to do with them that's bad news, I'm just like, I choose not to see this. Like, I choose to ignore this. Yes, you're right. I
kind of do a similar thing, and especially because it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'm one of the weird few people that actually is really excited about new Dragon Age, and it's just like anytime I read something like this, I'm like, no.
Well,
no.
Dragon Age Inquisition, for the issues that it had, was a legitimately great game. I mean, like the writing, it was some of their best writing they've had in recent years. It was some of their best gameplay that they've had in recent years. Some of the worlds were a little big and empty, but I mean,
and the performance and stuff, like the game looks and runs so well.
Still
especially
looks
for
good
when it came out. Yeah, like it's so fucking good.
It is a great game. It's a shame that I don't think any recent output since then has been something I've enjoyed. Like, I didn't really play Mass Effect Andromeda.
Was that after?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shame.
Let's find it. Let's see exactly. I think that was 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Oh fuck no, recent? I'm way off. 2017, but okay. But Inquisition was 15, I think.
Right. Okay. I was thinking like 14 or something, but yeah, you might be right.
Maybe 14. Yeah, 14. November 18th, 2014. So, yeah, I mean, there was a 3-year gap there. So, you know what's fucked up is even calling Inquisition recent is wrong.
It's almost 10 years old.
At this point, that's wrong. Like we're a year away from that game being 10 years old.
How old is Anthem? We did this before.
Anthem.
Obligatory Anthem.
Jesus.
Oh, 2019. What? Oh, that hurts.
That actually seems wrong. I feel like we've done this before. Wrong. I feel like we've had this same reaction before. But that seems wrong.
There's no way, right?
February 22nd, 2019. So Anthem was the last BioWare game? Is that right? That must be right. There hasn't been, I mean, unless you count like Star Wars The Old Republic expansions.
No. Didn't they? There's no way. God, it hurts my brain.
I guess Mass Effect Legendary Edition was the last finger quotes BioWare game, but yeah.
Well, you know, Anthem was good too. I'll say it. Somebody has to.
You don't have to.
They're 2 for 3 out of recent games. You know,
no one has to. Yeah. I mean, so I guess the last good BioWare game came out almost exactly 10 years ago, which is crazy.
Wow. Yeah. Anthem, Legendary Edition, and then Dreadwolf. Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, they laid off 50 people. The studio's general manager, Gary McKay, according to this article on The Verge, who seems to be the only... No, I was about to be very hyperbolic. I was going to say the only outlet not using AI-generated text, but there's quite a few. But it feels like anytime you Google something now, you get like an AI article. I don't know. Anyway, it's really pissing me off. In order to meet the needs of our upcoming projects and continue to hold ourselves to the highest standard of quality, and to ensure BioWare can continue to thrive in an industry that's rapidly evolving, we must shift to a more agile and more focused studio. So, 50 people.
I mean, if that's like real shit and not just what they said, I mean, fair enough, I guess. But I feel like that's just what they're saying.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they're owned by EA. Like,
yeah,
there's absolutely no way anything they do could be considered agile with a company like EA.
Yeah, and even BioWare themselves, I mean, their projects are way bigger than the kind of team they're describing, I feel like maybe not, but I mean, at least like when you think of like Mass Effect and Anthem and Dragon Age, you're not thinking like, oh, a smaller, more agile team made this. Like, I don't know.
No,
maybe that's my lens I'm looking at it through, but.
Excuse me, I just yawned, which means I haven't had enough coffee. If LinkedIn is to be believed, they have somewhere between 500 and 1,000 employees.
Okay, right.
So that's a huge gap. I mean, the difference between 500 and 1,000 employees is fucking massive. But
Yeah. But
but
either way, 50 people from that still leaves them as a sizable group. Either
yeah,
way, like that's not majority of their team size. So
yeah,
yeah, not small and agile. At least in my mind for game development, I imagine like 50 is like a small team.
yeah, I would agree. So I think they're just being, yeah, like you said, marketing speak, PR
Yeah.
speak. Dreadwolf was announced in 2018.
Yeah, long ass fucking time ago, dude.
So it's been a while. And in 2021, the senior creative director of Dreadwolf, Matt Goldman, left.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I read an article like that about Dreadwolf like every 6 months. I'm just like, another lead person on the creative team is gone. It's like, all right, great.
yeah,
This is gonna suck.
Yep.
That's okay. The lower my expectations, the better it'll be.
That's true. How could that be wrong?
Right.
I guess that's not necessarily true because your expectations could be really low and they could never come out. That could be.
That's my current expectation. Actually, is this
Is
just
it?
never going to come out? So as long as it comes out, I'll be okay. Maybe. Hopefully.
It might. I don't know. Yeah, it's really hard to say these days about what gets canceled and what doesn't. I mean, I hear that KOTOR remake is like probably on the rocks. Speaking of Embracer Group, but
yeah, I would say that one's way more likely to be canceled.
Some other news. Did you see that SAG-AFTRA, the acting and writing joint strike group, is about to vote on a strike authorization for video games?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the reality will be that if this goes through, there will be a pretty big hit to game production for a while, which is good. I mean, whatever. Like I'm on the side of the unions 100% of the time, generally. So I would imagine, I haven't read a lot into this, but I mean, it would be the same talking points as what everyone's pissed about, which is, the possibility for AI to use your voice in perpetuity, payment rights, like what is considered a livable or correct wage to be paid for acting work, things like that. I mean, I've always been curious because, like, okay, I was playing Starfield and I was thinking about Bethesda games, right? And like, I remember the first time as a kid, I had that moment where I was like, holy shit, there's like famous people in video games, was when I played Oblivion, and Sean Bean's in it.
Oh, okay.
But also the very first fucking guy you meet is Patrick Stewart in that game as well.
Okay.
So like, I just remember being like, holy shit, like there's like famous people in these games, and I was like, what could they possibly be paying them?
Yeah.
It's
not much, I feel like, right?
I have no idea. That is a great question. I have no idea. And I had that thought recently because like, there's a bunch of famous people in Baldur's Gate 3 as well. Jason Isaacs and, fucking, oh my God, why am I blanking? He was in the movie Whiplash and Burn After Reading and all that shit. He was Cave Johnson in Portal 2.
I don't.
J.K. Simmons, name, thank God. Yeah, the most famously, I feel like the give me pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. what's his name? Jameson, J. Jonah Jameson, that
Yeah.
character. Yeah, like, there's a bunch of famous people in Baldur's Gate 3, and I was like, how do they afford this?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm maybe game developers do pay a lot for voice acting gigs, especially for people who would be a recognizable name. I don't know, but most of the time, strikes like this are not about the people at the top getting paid, because if you have a recognizable name and a recognizable brand, you probably have the ability to negotiate whatever pay you think is fair, right? For a contract. The reality is like, okay, what did the guy, I don't know, voicing Asterion get paid, right? Like I haven't looked into who he is, but maybe he's not, so famous that he can negotiate whatever kind of contract he wants. So
Yeah, or even if they do have some sort of ability to negotiate either which way, if the standard isn't that high to begin with, if they're like, well, I want this much, and then the other guy's like, well, this job only gets paid this much, like maximum, so we're never going to give you as much as you feel like you deserve, then there's potentially already just a problem systematically. I don't know, but
yeah,
that's what I imagine is like maybe across the board there's a pretty big issue with how people get paid, and I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm
hear
not
you.
very educated on it, but I assume if it's getting to this point with movies and now games, that it must be.
Do you want to hear the signatory video game companies that they bargain with, like the union bargains with?
Sure.
Some of these are not surprising, and then some of these you'll be like, I've never heard of that. Are you ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Activision.
Okay.
Blind Light LLC.
I'm
typing Blind Light LLC into my browser. Is a Los Angeles-based company providing Hollywood production services to the video game industry.
That's cool.
Okay. Disney Character Voices, Inc.
Okay.
Electronic Arts Productions, Inc. Epic Games, Inc. Formosa Interactive LLC.
Formosa.
Formosa Group is widely recognized as a leading force in post-production audio. Insomniac Games, Take-Two, VoiceWorks, and WB. Which is kind of...
That was a small list.
Kind of a weird one. WB. Also, no Sony?
Is it because they're like Japan based? I mean, they're a mega conglomerate or whatever the word is, so I guess that doesn't necessarily apply to them.
Like, yeah, I guess that's a good question.
That would be the only weird thing I could think of, maybe because they aren't like originated over here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure the logistics of that, but that is a good point. Voting postcards will be mailed to eligible voters on September 5th, and it will close on the 25th. So we'll know by the 25th, or, well, I'll say shortly after the 25th, if there will be a strike relating to actors in video games. So, interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. People should get paid what they want to get paid. That's my controversial stance. It shouldn't be controversial, but it actually is. I said that sarcastically at first, but I was like, actually, there's people who disagree with this. Like, people think that people in unions are greedy.
Go
on.
So, speaking of money and controversy, how do you kind of feel about the PlayStation Portal's price?
Yeah, I had that on my list of news things to talk about. So PlayStation Portal, for those who don't know, is we mentioned this, I think, in our E3 discussion. PlayStation Portal is that long rumored handheld that's basically like a what do they call it? The DualSense 5, but if they cut it in half and slammed a screen in between it.
Yeah.
And when it was announced, I mean, the leaks were pretty much dead on. Like when they announced it, I don't think anybody was surprised. So they officially announced it, what, like 2 weeks ago, maybe?
It was maybe a month or so. I'm not sure, but pretty recently.
And I've seen more and more companies getting hands on with it, and it's basically just a little LCD screen that you stream games to from your PS5. So you have to have a PS5 to use it.
Yep.
And it streams directly from the PS5. It doesn't you can't say use PlayStation Now with it because that's a different thing. Which is kind of an interesting choice considering that they spent all that time setting up that service and paying, for games to go on it and whatever. But I'm not, I don't run business at Sony, so maybe they got a reason for that.
Yeah. It's also, especially while we're on that topic, because I actually have always been thinking about this ever since I have had this PC.
Always.
Because the first thing I did with this PC was download PlayStation Now.
And play Bloodborne.
And play Bloodborne because I wanted to see if it was true. And it was. I was like, okay. And it ran very well because I have really good internet. So I was like, how the fuck is this not more talked about?
Yeah.
And not only that, but right after that, basically, is when Sony started pumping out PC ports, basically. Yeah. And they all go to Steam. They don't do them on their own service on PC. And I'm like, literally, what does Sony want? Like it's like they want to be exclusive kings, and then they also don't take advantage of their own things that they've already created. Like, I don't get it. Like, whatever. But that's all. It's just a weird thing. I feel like they haven't utilized PlayStation Now as much as they could have ever.
No, I would agree. And I remember booting up the PlayStation Now app when they first released it on PC, and it was like very crappy. Like they they hadn't done really any work to make the UI worthwhile, and
it's dog shit.
Connecting a PlayStation controller to your PC is also semi-challenging, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that has just as much, if not more, to do with Microsoft. But anyway, so the Portal. They announced the price. Think about how much a DualSense controller is, I guess. Add an LCD screen to it. Add like some kind of, weak processor and like Wi-Fi, antenna and some other shit. And somehow you arrive at $199.
Yeah. I think that's sadly about right. I kind of wish it would have been 150. I think that would have been the fuck yes home run price point where like a lot of people that maybe weren't even interested would have been like, fuck it, I'll pick one up.
Yeah.
Whereas 200 is right there at the spot where it's like, man, I don't know if I'll ever need this, so fuck it, I won't pick it up.
Yeah.
But I think that's really as low as they obviously could have gone, or they would have gone lower, but yeah.
What price did the PlayStation Vita launch at?
I want to say like 350, maybe 300. But I could be wrong. I didn't get a Vita until they made the cooler ones.
Looking this up right now. $249.99.
Oh, wow. Wow.
The very first model, that's when it was discontinued. It was discontinued March 1st, 2019. That's weirdly recent. Launch was February 15th, 2012. So $250 in 2012 was maybe a little bit different.
Okay.
But
yeah, perhaps.
So, but we'll just take it one. I mean, whatever. God, now I'm doing like what was 200 or what is, I don't know, $250 from 2012.
For reference, though, the PS4 was $400, and the Vita accompanied the PS4. So
Sure.
PS4 400, Vita 250, PS5 500, a controller with a screen 200. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean, everything's sliding up, but
right.
I mean, even the controllers are more now, right? But there's also more tech in them. I would say this is kind of funny because it's less tech.
Yes.
There's less in this than there was in a Vita.
Right.
I mean,
I feel like a significant amount less too.
But okay, I'll just say this.
It doesn't do anything.
This is like the dumbest thing I've ever typed into Google. I typed in 250 from 2012 and 2023, and it weirdly knew what I was asking. And it said $250 in 2012 is worth $332 today. So,
okay.
This is like so fucking pedantic. Like nobody gives a shit. But okay, so yeah, $200. I mean, just to stream your games from the console that you already paid $500 for.
Yeah.
I guess you don't have to pay. That was the one thing about PlayStation Now was like, well, whatever. I mean, we're PS Plus subscribers. PlayStation Now is included in that, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's kind of weird now. They technically got rid of PlayStation Now and made it like PlayStation Game Pass, which is what it always was. But the marketing around it made it seem very different.
Oh.
But now it's just bundled with PlayStation Plus, and you just pay a little bit more a month to have access to the Game Pass, which is what PlayStation Now was.
But there are some games you still have to stream, like PS3 games and stuff
games
like that.
that haven't been remade are on the
I mean,
stream only. But before it was all stream only, and then they eventually made it where you could download stuff except for PS3.
So what this means is that you cannot play Bloodborne on the PlayStation Portal.
Why is that what that means?
Because what are you going to do? So let's say you open it up, you connect to your PS5. Oh, I guess it runs natively on the PS5. Never mind. What was I? So I'll say what's a PS3 game? Killzone 2. No, but you can't do that on your PS5 anyway. But like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like the idea. So if you wanted to play Killzone 2 on the PlayStation Portal, you have to connect to your PS5, which is streaming it from a server, which is streaming it on a PS3 emulated server. Like, that's strange to me.
I mean, I guess it's just to be clear that anyone would ever maybe want to do that would also be strange.
What? Killzone 2 is a good game.
Yes, but not anymore. Like,
what?
I mean, yes, I would enjoy playing Killzone 2.
No, you would not. I played
Killzone 2.
I played Halo Reach with you, dude. That was you were so pissed.
That game sucks. Killzone 2 never sucked ever. That was a good shooter.
I mean, I liked it. I liked it too. But I mean, if you played it now, you'd probably feel like, "Holy fuck, this is."
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not a good game anymore. But I don't know. I just don't. Nobody's going to want to do the thing you just described. But yeah, that would be annoying.
I mean, I described it because I kind of want to do it. I should. Are you buying a PlayStation Portal?
Maybe one day on sale. I have no need for one right now. Because, like, here's the thing. I'm only going to be playing a PS5 game in my apartment the way my life currently works. And I'll never want to use the PlayStation Portal in my apartment ever. Yeah. Maybe one day when I live in a house and there is maybe like my PS5's in my living room and I want to be in my bedroom. There's definitely a use case for this. It just doesn't apply to me currently. So I will never be buying one in where I'm at right now with my life. I just don't need it. But the product does interest me. So I guess if we're playing the hypothetical and maybe I lived in like a bigger place or something like that, the product would appeal to me. I am the type of person to pick up stupid shit like this.
The sicko in me just wants to test it. Like that's really what I want. I just want to know. Like, I don't want to pay $200 to test something that I'm never going to use again. But I just want to know how it works. Like, I want to test it. I want to see it work. I want to play a bunch of games on it and figure out if it's does it feel good? Does it feel the same? I mean, I don't know.
You could be a sicko like me and take advantage of like the Best Buy return policy.
Yeah.
Just go use it and bring it back before 30 days have passed and get all your money back.
It's a lot of work, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, dude, in New York City, finding a fucking Best Buy is a challenge in and of itself.
Yeah, maybe it's a New York City thing. I'm very blessed. I literally live a 1 minute walk away from a Best Buy. That's not an exaggeration. We could walk out my door and be at a Best Buy in 1 minute.
That is actually kind of nice. I mean, I don't know. How many do you have to cross a freeway to get there though?
No. My neighborhood is like this apartment complex is directly next to a shopping outlet, and there's like a walkway that connects them. So it's just like you just walk over.
Fuck, that is really nice.
We can go get coffee and Best Buy at the same time.
That's like the American dream is what that is. Like,
yeah,
like that is a uniquely thing that only Americans could want, is to go to a Starbucks and a Best Buy 1 minute walk from their home. But like, that does sound really nice. I mean, I'll admit,
so
in the moments when you fucking like get something or try to hook something up and you're like, God damn it, I need a cable for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, that's an ordeal. Like, I gotta, I mean, it's not like
basically Amazon.
It's not like a huge ordeal. I mean, it's like a 30-minute experience for me to go from my door to get to, but I gotta get dressed. I gotta fucking get on the train. Like, I mean, it's like a whole thing. Yeah. But I mean, I guess that's why people live in Manhattan also. Like, I didn't want to live in Manhattan because I would rather spend my money on video games instead of on rent. But
yeah.
But I mean, anyway, I don't know. PlayStation Portal, I don't know. I want to see what people say about this when it's like out. Like I want to see the reviews for this. I want to see, like, I watched some videos, I watched some previews. It looks nice. I mean, it looks like the controls, like, remember we had that discussion. I was watching a video and I was watching a guy play Returnal, and we had that discussion. First of all, totally forgot Returnal existed. But we had that discussion where, I know.
Fuck you.
We had that discussion not that long ago where we were like, there's something about shooters that just don't feel right. Even though like Switch and Steam Deck controls are good enough where they should feel like you're playing them on a console, but somehow they still feel worse. And you posited the theory that it's just because the screen is in between your hands that it's weird, right? There's like some kind of neurological system.
Yeah. I mean, really though, because you don't hold a thing you're shooting.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's some, Anyway, I explained it poorly, but I do think there's a weird thing going on. Maybe it's not that the screen is in between your hands necessarily, but there is a weird thing on the handheld with the screen there that it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's not how you're used to playing games and using a controller, right?
For shooters specifically, though, like a lot of other game genres, it doesn't even cross your mind. But for some reason, with shooters specifically, it just does not feel correct.
Yeah. Well, it was like, I mean, I played Disco Elysium on that Steam Deck, and it was a good experience. But there were like moments where I was like, something about this just feels kind of off, right? Like I feel like I'm not getting the fine level of. It's like control versus like what you see at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Did they say something?
No.
Akin to that?
But I had that thought where I was like, if I was using this, would I feel that way still?
For Returnal, I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was just, or I'm trying to think, what was the last shooter I played on a console? I don't even know. I have no idea. I was like, what if I played I don't know. I was like, what if I wanted to play Demon's Souls remake on this thing? Like, is that going to feel strange, or
I think that would feel fine.
Yeah.
I played Bloodborne on the Vita and had a really good time.
That's weird because the Vita doesn't have two shoulder buttons.
I know. I used the touchpad on the back for L2 and R2. It was fine.
I don't know, man. Stay tuned, I guess. PlayStation Portal. Maybe we'll have more to say. I don't know.
Coming to a PS5 near you.
Yeah. coming
and
to
nowhere else.
a drawer near me.
Yeah.
Speaking of drawers near me, this is not a drawer. This is a shelf. But I do have my analog pocket here that I
Dude,
got
how do
in.
you like it?
I've used it for a cumulative amount of about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I got it mostly because I like it.
Yeah.
I like looking at it. I like the feel of it.
I
It's
respect
nice.
the product.
It's very nice. It's if I wanted to update the firmware on it, I would have to download it onto a micro SD card and fucking slot that bad boy in there, and that seems like a real hassle in the year 2023. So I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you can't just plug it in.
I know. I thought that. I was like, maybe I'll just USB it into my PC. No, it doesn't work. At least from what I can tell. The official, like the instructions they give you are like, put the update on an SD card and put it in the console. So I'd be afraid to try it a way that they don't explicitly recommend, I guess. But
yeah.
Anyway.
That's been on my radar. I've actually really wanted one of those. It's
neat. I think the glow in the dark one came out yesterday, right? Or is it today?
That's what Tyler was saying.
I waited. I paid for that thing in October or November of last year, by the way, and it just came in like 2 weeks ago.
Wow, the glow in the dark one sold out in less than 24 hours.
I believe you. These things are fucking crazy. People are nuts about them. Yeah, it took me almost a year to get mine.
Yeah, that's wild.
So, was it worth it? I don't know. I like looking at it. And there's a local video game store here called Video Games New York that has like a bunch of old shit. I'm thinking about going in and getting like Advance Wars and Fire Emblem and some other old crap and actually playing it.
Yeah. Wait, they have an analog duo now? What is this?
I don't know.
Let me click on it. I can't tell what it is.
What are you talking about?
They have an analog duo. Ships this year. But I don't know what it is.
What is that? Oh, yeah. It's
I click on it.
Yeah, so the analog duo, if I remember correctly, is here, I'll send you a link. Yeah, their website is kind of crap. I'll just post it in the general chat. So the analog duo is it's a TurboGrafx 16 and a PC Engine CD-ROM.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's which are two game platforms that I have absolutely zero experience with.
Yeah, it's a zero appeal to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. I also have, I don't know if you knew this about me, but on my shelf behind me, I do also have the analog Super NT.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. I did get a Super NT when that came out. That was probably around 2016 or 17. And it's nice. I did use that one a lot for a while because I jailbroke it and fucking put a bunch of ROMs on there, and it was kind of fun. But, and this is hard for me to admit, I don't, kind of like you and Halo Reach, I don't think games that old are fun anymore.
Yeah.
Like I was like, damn, dude, I haven't played Mario 3, or whatever, in a long time. And then I booted up, and within an hour, I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Old games suck. It's just a fact.
It's kind of true.
A fact.
It's kind of true. Like,
I hate to see it.
I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty of exceptions, but they don't hold my attention enough anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it really. This is something I've known and always kind of like continuously realized over time, but I think it really hit me semi recently when I kind of went on the Bioshock kick again. And I tried to play all three of them and couldn't get past like 20 minutes. So I was just like, yeah, new games are just so good. Like, it's one thing to think about when we used to play old games maybe 5 to 10 years ago, and we'll play remasters or re-releases or remakes, and it's just like, okay, this is still playable and fun. But now I think games are just so good now that like to go back and engage with these old systems and old mechanics, I guess is what I mean, and just stuff like that, it's just like, holy fuck, like why would you ever want to do this to yourself? Especially too, as we get older, we have less and less free time.
That's true.
So
that is the hard part.
We can't help but have that argument with ourselves, like, why do we really want to do this right now when we could do the other new thing?
Spending the time is really the tough part. But I think like for me, I think my range is a little bit longer than yours. Like Bioshock 1, I could still play and be fine because it's modern enough.
I thought that too until I tried recently. I was like, oh shit, this is actually way more dated now than I would have thought in memory. But
it's weird to think that Bioshock 1 is older than Halo Reach.
I don't think that's weird to me, but in my memory, Bioshock is like super old. I don't know the release date, but that's like one of my
2007 maybe, right?
Younger person memories, whereas the other game you mentioned is like, I feel like a high school game. I feel like Bioshock is like pre-high school.
Yeah, 2007 for Bioshock. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, some games just still feel good. Like I feel like Bioshock would be one of those, but I haven't played it. I also remember hearing that it doesn't run that well on modern systems, on modern Windows, I guess. I would choose to play it on PC, not on.
Yeah. I tried it on PC. It ran fine.
Did you do the original or the remaster?
Probably the remaster.
You did that remaster. I don't remember what it was called.
I think it's just called Bioshock Remastered.
Okay, yeah. 20 gigs? Jesus. A remaster of Bioshock can be 20 gigs. Okay. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like some games are immune to that feel. Like Half-Life 2, I play semi-recently all the time, and that game still feels good. But
yeah, maybe it's just a me thing. That's one of the games that felt dated back when I played it originally, and I used to, talk all my shit because I was just like, it's just not a good game. But I played it like years after it came out, and a lot of people would argue that it still holds up and that it definitely held up when I played it. But
God damn it,
I just absolutely don't agree.
God damn it. Yeah. It's funny. I think I really do think it's just a specific set of things, because like I went and tried to play Uncharted 2 semi recently. That game is like unenjoyable now.
Yeah.
Like you just can't do it.
No.
I couldn't believe I thought Uncharted 2 was amazing when that game came out. Right. You cannot play that game now. It feels bad. The writing is bad. There's just everything about that game just feels bad now. I couldn't believe it. Like, and I was
isn't it wild to think The Last of Us 2 could be that one day, could be so dated that we think of it like that?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's funny. I think the trick is that you never know what those games are going to be.
Yeah,
because I did pick up Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, and I played it a little bit on my last trip, and I was like, this game fucks, dude. This game rules. I mean, the writing's a little rough, and the voice acting is bad, actually. Like, Marston's fine, but like Bonnie's so bad. Anyway. But yeah, man, I was like, this game fucking rules, but I don't know. You never know. You never know what the games are going to be, I guess. And what's funny is I didn't even have that reaction to Red Dead Redemption when it came out. I remember being like, this game is okay. Like, I thought that game was all right. Like, I was like, I can see what they're going for. But now I'm like, holy shit, dude, this game rules. Yeah, Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Who knows? I was telling Jen the other day that, like, if you think about like the difference between movies when they were new and now, or even by the end of the 20th century, like
Yeah.
the by that metric, video games are still in their early discovery phase.
Oh
right?
yeah, they're infants, which is always like crazy to me about video games is that they are still growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like film is yeah. No, I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. It's so crazy to me that video games still have so long to go before they're like mature, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's going to look like. Like it's so crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, man, 20 more years and we could maybe say we're in like the adolescent kind of stage, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. Let's talk about Starfield.
Yes.
I like it.
Me too. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. What tell me about yourself. Who are
Yep.
you?
Uh-huh.
Where did you come from?
Did you give yourself a normal name in that game by chance?
I give all my characters in video games the same name.
Okay, what is it?
Rin, Rin.
Okay, did the robot read it out to you?
No.
This is an experience only I have because I have this joke where if I make um like a male character, I always name them Billy because it's like an alter ego of mine or something. I don't know.
Okay.
It's like some weirdo shit. Anyway, they say my name.
They did the same thing in Fallout 4. They had like a list of about 100 or so names that if you happen to have picked that as your custom name, they would say it out loud in dialogue as well.
Yeah. So when I got in the ship, the robot called me Captain Billy. Yeah. And I fucking hated it.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, it was funny.
The main guy that recruits you at the beginning, the black guy, whose name I forget at the moment.
Yeah.
He calls me Dusty all the time because I don't have a fucking name.
Well, I think he still calls me Dusty as well, but I'm actually not sure.
Well, that's fucking annoying. So I would prefer you to just not call me anything or fuck off than to call me Dusty all the time. Like I genuinely don't like it, but I don't like it when people call me weird nicknames in real life.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like don't fucking call me Dusty in real life. All right.
That's funny. I have absolutely.
I'll show you some dust.
I have absolutely no. Yeah, we can have a dust up if you want. I have absolutely no
I'll
strong.
beat you up right now.
I can beat myself off just fine. Thank you. No.
All right.
But I have heard that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer either.
Oh, I haven't either. It's still playing in my theater at 70 so I feel like I should.
I should as well. I think maybe this
like
week.
3 hours of my time. Also,
it seems long. Yeah. Yeah, I did not have that reaction to him calling me Dusty, but I did notice that and thought it was kind of strange. But yeah, the robot calls me Captain Billy. I picked like the Han Solo starting type, which I think is called Scoundrel or something like that. I can't remember. It was basically like piloting, persuasion, and pistol certifications. And honestly, none of that shit really matters, except it does contribute a little bit to your background and like how people talk to you. Like there's been some dialogue choices that show up just because I picked certain traits or certain background things. But
did you pick any of the traits that were like, oh, you come from this religion, so you'll have access to this, or you come from this society, so you'll have these dialogue?
I picked just one, and it was wanted. Like that there's a bounty out on my head. Yeah, because I thought it would be funny because I'm like the Han Solo type, so it makes sense. Yeah. Like Jabba's after me, man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Has that come up at all for you yet?
It in gameplay, I don't think anything has manifested for that yet, except for there was a unique dialogue option related to that.
Okay.
What'd you pick? What'd you start off with?
my like thing that you were talking about was like industrialist or something.
Okay,
I'd
that's so
come from
funny.
like, yeah, I come from, uh, a business or factory or whatever,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
type of work. And the perks were like, I want to say persuasion. Oh, it might have been lockpicking, or maybe that's just the first thing I picked. But it was like persuasion and a few other things.
Yeah.
I wanted something with persuasion for sure.
Yeah.
So went with that one. But
I don't know if you've talked to them yet, but you, B. Paul, and Merced picked the same one, which I think is really interesting. And
yeah, well,
the logic was the same. They wanted persuasion, and I think it comes with does it come with like bartering or some kind of like
no, it
crafting
didn't.
thing? I can't
No,
recall.
I'd have to go look. I can't remember
Yeah.
now for some reason. But yeah, I picked it because in terms of the role play, I was trying to figure out what I wanted this character to be, and I was going through all the things, and I'm like, okay, well, in terms of the headspace I want to be in for this character, like, what would make sense? How could I really get into the role play based off of these like backgrounds? And I was like, well, industry is the only one that makes sense to me. Like, my character is about to become a miner. Why would he be this unless he came from this back? So that's really mostly what it was. And I did want persuasion really bad, but there was a few that I was juggling that didn't have persuasion.
Okay, industrialist is persuasion, security, and research.
Okay.
So,
what does security do? I don't even remember.
That's the lockpicking one.
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay, so it did come with lock. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Which, by the way, the lockpicking in this game is so fucking dope.
It's amazing. They really nailed it. I'm with you on that.
Nailed it. Yep.
Yeah.
I like the persuasion mechanic too. I like how they did it. I've heard it's similar to Oblivion, but I never played that.
So I'm kind of bad at it. I mean, I was having an easy time for a while, but then I hit like 3 in a row that I failed, and I was like, should I kill myself or what's the deal?
No,
here?
it is a little like luck based if you're not doing green, basically. Which is unfortunate when you need like 1 yellow to basically guarantee victory. Yeah. But yeah, you've kind of just got to shoot your shot. And if it's something, if you can tell, like, it's, I don't know, I guess it's all about how you want to play it, but there's certain things where I'll save scum just because I genuinely really want the outcome, where I like talk myself through it as opposed to whatever else is about to happen. But, obviously do that at your own discretion. But
yeah, I haven't done that.
It's just a little weird how it works, because there's a lot of things that I think in my mind are like really simple. Like, it shouldn't be a big deal for me to try and ask this of the person. And it's still like my options are like, I have a lot of persuasion now. My options are like all yellow, and yellow is just not guaranteed, which is kind of fine. But it's just a little weird sometimes. It's like, bro, I'm just trying to get into the closet. It's funny, like, just shut the fuck up.
They want you to think about what that character would react to, right?
Yeah.
And so I tried that on a few occasions, and it feels like sometimes the logic is a little inconsistent, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, nothing's going to be an exact science. And I mean, if LA Noire taught us anything, it's that, these types of like logic based persuasion mechanics are always going to be kind of hard to get right.
Yeah. And it's like this one time I misclicked, so I went back and I was like, I didn't mean to do that, so let me go back and I'll just do the whole conversation again. And it was really annoying because the options were different.
Nice.
And the options that were the same, I like failed that check for him for. And God, that's my thing with it, is just like,
well, there's still a dice roll, I think, is what I understand.
It's still a dice roll. It's just the way it's set up doesn't necessarily feel like a dice roll. It's like, oh, this will give me +3. And it's like, oh, no, it won't. You have a chance of getting +3. And
then the color makes it a worse chance or a better chance. Yeah. I mean, it is weird, and they could explain it better for sure. I think these games did make a mistake when they decided, if Baldur's Gate 3 has shown me anything, it's that obfuscating the dice rolls is the mistake. because to me, I'll make what I would consider a completely logical argument, and the dice roll
Yeah.
will determine that I have failed.
Right.
Like I'll say something that I think a character would completely agree with based on who they are or who they've presented,
Yeah.
to be, and then it fails or succeeds when I pick something that doesn't make any sense at all, and I'm like, I don't know.
And that's what I meant about the kind of save scumming part is like, if I'm trying to get into a closet and I know there's no reason this person like wouldn't let me in, it's just, it is behind either a dialogue thing or a fight. And it's like, well, I really just want to get in the closet. We don't need to fight over this because that's not who my character is. And I failed the fucking +3. I'm so sorry. Like, so it's just like, all right, that kind of stuff I'm just going to do. But then if it's like an outcome, like a main quest or something, and what I'm deciding is like, when it feels appropriate or like I shouldn't, I don't. But
so in the broad sense, this game is Fallout 4.
Yeah, in space. Yeah.
It feels, I mean, the shooting feels better, the movement does feel a bit better, but this game is Fallout 4. Why do I like it so much more?
Because Fallout was like a known quantity.
Yeah.
I guess at that point, and in my opinion, 3 and New Vegas kind of did it better. So we're getting 4, which is the shiny new Fallout, and it is shinier and newer, but it's kind of doing the same things again, and the things that it's doing that were new weren't necessarily better. They were just new, like the settlement stuff, like that was all new for Fallout 4, and it wasn't necessarily better than anything that came in Fallout 3. It was just new. Yeah. So I think that's kind of what it is. The new stuff this game is doing, I don't know, is just, I guess, done better. You know what I mean? They just clearly worked on this game a lot longer and put a lot more life and soul into it, and you can feel it, and you definitely feel the polish a lot more than you did for Fallout 4.
Yeah, I think it's that the baggage of being a Fallout game weighs more heavily on something than just a random new IP that you have no attachment to. Like, I think so far the writing in Starfield is pretty bad overall. I mean, I say bad in the sense that, like,
which part, like the dialogue,
the dialogue,
like everything.
Yeah, the dialogue is
dialogue is okay.
I think it's pretty hilarious and pulpy in a way that doesn't make sense for the universe they're trying to portray. But the lore and things like that I think are interesting, and the overall kind of structure of the universe and the way things work is well done. But there's something about moving through an environment in this game and going through the loop of like shooting and kind of looking around and looting and reading emails and stuff that I find infinitely more engaging than I did when it was in Fallout 4.
Same. This is one of the few games where I kind of actually like it. Yeah, it's very rare. Most of the time in games, I just ignore all that kind of stuff. But it's kind of
I had the thought where I was like, I feel really bad for the Outer Worlds right now.
Yeah,
because they basically
No Man's Sky.
Well, yeah, I thought that at first, but then as I started playing, I realized that they're just legitimately completely different games. Like, there's absolutely no overlap. The only thing is the resource gathering, the base building. Everything else, like the Outer Worlds doesn't No Man's Sky doesn't really have combat per se, or at least the last time I played, it wasn't like a huge focus. It was kind of just something you did if you had to, but for the most part it was explore, mine resources, build a base, travel to a new planet. There may be more combat now, but the loops of these games feels completely different. I mean, the No Man's Sky thing of being able to take off and land independently on a planet or fly around a planet as much as you want is still insanely impressive, especially if you consider that this game doesn't even attempt to do that. They're like, you cannot take off, you cannot land, you cannot fly through space. Like, basically each space zone is like a little box. Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're like, okay, here's where you're allowed to be. And I think that's
Yeah.
fine, by the way, like for immersion and things like that. It does kind of make
Yeah.
sense because space is so fucking vast that, like, fair enough. But
I do think the leaving and entering atmosphere is a huge miss. Not like in a wow, this game is bad because it doesn't have that. Just like
yeah,
the option to just go through the fucking sky, up or down and hit the planet or hit space. Like it's just cool. People,
yeah,
I think at least maybe I'm only speaking for myself, but I think people want to do that, even if it's just the one time and then they fast travel the rest. Like,
yeah.
I think it would have been cool to be able to just go through a little transition into that space box.
It's cool, and I can imagine like a version of a Starfield 2 that has that mechanic. Like I don't think like they chose for it to be this way without a good reason, right? Like I think they were like, okay, mechanically, engine wise, whatever, stability wise, we have to do this for this reason.
Or even if it's as simple as like it was in the game and then they just realized they never did it after like an hour in, they just only fast traveled. So like, fuck it, let's cut, dude.
Yeah, or it's like, okay, well, if you're landing on New Atlantis, could you imagine doing that like real time?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that would be nuts. Like,
and you are traveling a lot, and that's one of the more annoying things about No Man's Sky eventually is that you're always getting in your ship and taking off and running out of fuel just to take off, and like finding places to land can be annoying too. So it's like, yeah, maybe they just ultimately decided it wasn't worth it and it would cause less good vibes than,
If I could imagine the hypothetical kind of ideal version of this mechanic, it's on an uncharted planet that doesn't have a landing pad, you should be able to land yourself. On a planet like New Atlantis or whatever the dusty fucking desert town one is, or whatever, a place that has like a designated landing zone, realistically, in the future, you're going to be autopiloting into that motherfucker anyway. I mean, let's be honest. Like that's how they would want that shit to go. So I think like for New Atlantis, okay, play a cutscene of us autopiloting in, or just let us stay in first person, but we still get to see, take off and landing from that. But and then on an uncharted world, just go into atmosphere the way you normally would and land however you want.
And the thing is, too, which I haven't seen this, but I know it's possible. There's random things that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say you're exploring a planet, which I actually haven't done this at all yet, but let's just say you're exploring a planet, not going to like a city or whatever. You're just exploring one of the tiles on the planet. There can be like random things where like an enemy ship comes down and you can board it and it can take off with you on it.
Yeah.
And go into space. So what is that like when you're not in control? I wonder. I don't know. But if that type of stuff exists, I feel like there is maybe a version somewhere where you could take off and go to space too. But,
I think it's technical limitations, if I had to be honest. Like, I can imagine that being the case. But, I mean, it's also, you have to limit your design somewhere, right? So,
sure.
I mean, they made this choice, and I don't think it's a huge negative. It's just one of those things that you're like, I thought maybe it would be different, that kind of thing. Yeah. But, no, the thing, I think the scope of the game, it feels extremely broad. But it's clear that the mechanics of interaction are relatively what you would expect. Talking, shooting, flying, cargo, point-to-point missions, base building, resource gathering, crafting, the usual verbs. I think you can set up trade routes between colonies and things like that. So there's like some base management or something there.
Yeah.
That you can do. But all of those usual Bethesda kind of verbs, I guess, have been
isms.
They've been refined to a point that everything feels pretty nice. Like it's just an enjoyable loop. They found a way to do their random generation thing in a way that doesn't feel distracting.
Yeah.
Like in Skyrim, it felt really distracting when you were in the same cave like 90 million times. Um, but in this, like having randomly generated planets kind of makes sense, and you don't really expect anything different, or whatever. Um, it's really smart. So, how far? I think you've played a little bit more than me.
Yeah, I played a bunch. I don't know exact hours, but I basically have played it almost nonstop since I've been awake since it dropped.
Yeah.
So whatever those hours are, I played it. Yeah, like all night that night it came out. So I was like probably about 8 hours, and then I played it all day yesterday. So that was like damn near, I don't know, about 12 hours of play probably.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm probably close to 20 hours ish. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and explain my whole little rundown so far. I basically started off just doing main quest stuff only because I was really broke, and I don't know about you, I kept running out of ammo, and I was very low on healing in the beginning, and I didn't really know what to do. So I was just playing it very close to the chest, like literally. I mean, I had like a sliver of health and 2 heals, and I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna fucking turn every corner very slowly and blast people and like just take it very slow because I don't want to lose any more health and use any more heals and lose any more ammo. So I was like just doing main story stuff until I had enough resources to go buy a fuck ton of heals and ammo, and then I kind of started doing my own thing. And once I started doing my own thing, I got a job at Ryujin Industries.
Yeah, I heard about this. Merced was doing this last night.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, when I was in the call with him.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
So you got to like interview and get the job and like do the whole thing.
Yeah, I did an interview and I got the job.
Get coffee for your boss.
Yeah, I got coffee, and then it pretty quickly starts escalating from there. But it's been really fun. Most of it is stealth. For this quest line, I don't know about other jobs or quest lines, but most of this one is stealth, which was kind of brutal at first. But I started leveling up the little perk that gives you the stealth meter, so that helped a bunch. But yeah, it's been pretty cool, and I've been doing those jobs, and I think I've got to be close to the end of that job quest line now. But it's been really, really cool. I very much like the writing and what they're doing. It's not like mind-blowing, like holy fuck, this side quest has changed everything, but yeah, it's been very fun. I'm liking it a lot. It's giving me a lot of money. And I genuinely got lost in it too. I like wasn't even thinking about the main quest anymore or anything like that, and just I was just doing this. Like this was my purpose now. And so then I forgot what I was doing, but I decided I wanted to go do something else. I think I wanted a new ship or something. So I was like, I'll take a break from this to go do that. And so I'm doing something completely unrelated to that job now. And I'm just going through space doing my own thing. And like, I assume this was a random event. I don't really fully know yet. But I fast travel somewhere. You know, when you like fast travel to a planet, you'll like get scanned sometimes, or some other stuff will be there in the atmosphere. Yeah. Well, there was a random ship that was like distress signaling for me, and it was like all kind of static, and you couldn't tell what it was really. But I'm like, all right, fuck it, I'll check it out. So I board, and there's 2 guys and a dead lady, and a computer screen that I guess is this AI basically that I don't know, they were creating or working on or whatever. This group of 3 people had come up with this AI or whatever it is. I don't know. But so they decided, the 3 people decided that they were going to like shut the AI off or do something to it or whatever, change it significantly in some way. So that's why the AI took matters into its own hands and killed the lady. Okay. And so the 2 guys are trying to convince me that we need to shut down the AI before it becomes a problem. And so long story short, you know, I deal with it however I chose to deal with it. But it turns out this is all the company I work for. It's all Ryujin.
Oh fuck.
And it hasn't come up yet. I went back to that quest line after I did this, and it hasn't come up yet there. But I can't tell. I'm like, did the game generate this random event because I have that job, or was this totally random and I got bonus dialogue because I have that job? Like, I don't know yet, but it was still really fucking cool that it happened either way.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll never know if it was just pure randomness or if it kind of chose to generate that.
Well, I feel like the real answer is going to be how does this hook in, right? Like how is that going to hook back into?
And that's my other thing is like the way it resolved was open-ended for sure. Is this AI going to come back? Are these people going to come back? Is this going to come up at work? Is this going to come up somewhere else unrelated to work? Like,
sure.
I really can't wait to figure it out. And the stuff that's going on with the job quest line is actually getting pretty interesting now that I'm remembering. These people are like, I don't know, it's kind of like Cyberpunk. They're like creating a little chip that if I have it, I can control people with it. And I've unlocked a mechanic now that's at the bottom of the skill tree. It's on the final row. I have unlocked a mechanic from this job that lets me take control of people with my mind for 30 seconds and get them to do whatever I want.
Does it like go into first person when you do that, or
no? I'm like watching them, and then I like look at them, choose to take control of them, and then I look at what I want them to do, and then I like make them do it.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's roughly my experience, and you can kind of see, I guess, just the potential. Like all of that came from the job, and then the random event, I guess we'll probably never know if that's because I took the job or if it's purely random or how that'll come up later, but all very cool. I'm excited to have more of this, basically.
Yeah, my experience has been so much more kind of scattershot, but like kind of expected. Like, I guess I loaded in and I did, the basic tutorial, went to New Atlantis, joined the lodge, and then once I had that, I was just running around New Atlantis just doing odds and ends. I did like the tracking the power drain quest down in the well. I did the UC quest where you join the cops.
Yeah.
I did.
Were those like short quests, or are they kind of like quest chains that you haven't finished yet?
Just ones and dones so far. So
okay.
So the cops are just like, hey, we just need a part-timer who's not on the payroll to do odds and ends. So it's like, go see what this guy amassed once, and he's like, I'm a spook and I need you to pick up this dead drop, and you're like, all right. Seems sketchy, but fair enough. All cops are bastards, but I gotta pay my fucking fuel bill, man. And then like you go back and the cop guy's like, I'll call you if I got anything else, but right now that's it. I did the one where you sneak into the impound or break into the impound and get that lady's booze ingredients from the bar. If you did that one.
I've only done the Ryujin side quests.
Okay.
So anything you'll say will basically be new to me.
I just had like a massive amount of money. I do not know what happened, but yeah, I
find massive.
I mean, I'm like 80,000, or I'm 8 hours in, and I have never had to buy anything yet. I have never had to do anything. Guns and armor are good enough when you pick them up in the field. Yeah. I haven't upgraded my ship at all, but I haven't felt a need to really. Like the mechanic hasn't come up yet.
Yeah, you would only need to if you were going hard in the ship stuff specifically.
I have plenty, and I put it on hard, by the way, because I was like, I don't know, maybe this will be fun. The enemies do a lot of damage. I have died in combat a couple times, but it just loads you back. It's weird. I haven't had to buy anything. I have plenty of healing. I have plenty of ammo because I'm just looting everything meticulously.
Yeah,
but I haven't done most of my time has been spent running errands for people on New Atlantis, and then I flew out. I did. If you work for the
Neon,
no. If you work for the bank, they ask you to go collect a debt from some guy, and I was like, all right, fair enough. So I flew off and did that, and I picked up Sam Coe, and we went to the Cowboy Land, and I did the bank mission.
Yeah.
I failed to negotiate with those people, so I was like, all right,
Yeah, I
Let's get in
successfully
there.
negotiated, and that was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's funny.
That dude, yeah, it was close. It was actually kind of funny. I'd accepted that I was going to lose the persuasion, and on the last one, I I can't remember the exact math. I think I had 5 squares I needed to fill up to win,
Yeah.
and my options were like 1, 3, 3. Like I didn't even have a 5,
Yeah.
as if I was going to hit it. I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just pick one of the threes, I guess. And I got a critical success. So I guess it doubled. So I got 6.
Holy
And I
shit.
hit the fucking, yeah, I hit the succeed. And I'm
I didn't
like,
even know that was possible.
yo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either until that moment. I was like, okay, fuck
That's
yeah.
funny. Yeah, one of my I got a free one, so I was almost all the way there. I had like 3 or 4 points in the
Mhm.
convince this guy because I had gotten a free one because I was wanted because of my trait that I picked.
Oh,
So it was
nice.
basically
Yeah.
like, I hear you, brother. You know, I was like, yeah, we all have trouble
Yeah.
with the law. He's like, I hear you.
Yeah.
So,
That's funny.
but then I just couldn't. I was like, listen, man, do you really want to hurt these people? And he was like, maybe if I gotta. And I was like, okay, like I don't know, that doesn't seem
Yeah.
consistent with what you've been saying. So I was like,
Yeah.
hey, listen, you know, it's gonna be tough to convince the sheriff of this. I mean, it's a lot. Maybe, you know, maybe you should come out, let the hostages go. We'll talk about it. And he's like, absolutely not. And I was like, all right, I'm coming in. And then I fucking
Yep.
got my gun. I did the stealth route where I went through the back and fucking took those fuckers out, dude.
Oh yeah.
Goddamn criminal scum. No, I don't know. But yeah, anyway, it's fun. I haven't. That's literally where I left off. Like I just got done doing the bank job. I successfully convinced Sam's dad, I guess, whoever Jacob is, uncle.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. That
Yeah, I convinced him too. That was really dumb to me. I didn't enjoy the Sam and his dad part.
mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't like Sam because I kind of don't, and I was ready to be done with him. But
Yeah, the writing for Sam is kind of bad. The writing for everybody so far is kind of bad, but I like Sam's voice actor because he's Adam Jensen from the new Deus Ex games, like Human Revolution
Okay.
and Mankind Divided, and
Yeah.
his voice is just really good. Like the gravelly,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this. Like all
Yeah.
right, dude. Um. Anyway, it's a cool game. I did have to load back because I got into a random dogfight in space where like I flew into a system and there were 3 ships already fighting against 2 other ships. I couldn't see what the 2 other ones were because they blew up shortly after I got in. But then those 3 ships turned to kill me and they were like 6 levels ahead of me.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is this a thing? And they fucking dusted my ass.
Well, what I will say, because a similar thing kind of happened
That's
to
why
me.
they call me Dusty.
Yeah, yeah. A similar thing kind of happened to me, and I ended up winning the fight, but it was very, very close. Or, I mean, at least at the start, they fucking annihilated me and got me down to like 10% health, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then I just fucking flipped on the switch in my brain and hit the nitrous and gassed their asses. But yeah, I basically fought the whole fight at like 10% health, and I don't know. That's when I realized that the levels must not matter because I hadn't upgraded my ship, and somehow I won that fight while almost dead. So, yeah, they were like way higher level than me, and I was doing plenty of damage to them and able to like outmaneuver them. You just gotta, I don't know. I think because at least this is what I did. I diverted all my power to like shields and lasers and like one in missiles, and then that helped my like shield come back, so that my health was fine. And then I guess obviously the lasers for damage, but yeah, I don't know. It the space stuff is tough, honestly. Like I have only fought in space like twice, other than the tutorial, and I feel like I'm really bad at it, or maybe my ship is just bad. But
well, it's just funny
it's
because
definitely like easier to die up there.
so like I got into the system and all 3 of them turned at me immediately, and 3 people shooting at me killed my shields almost instantly.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, fuck, well, I got to divert power. And the keybinds for changing power are either the arrow keys on PC or hold Alt and use WSAD, which is stupid. Why would anyone ever do that? So you have to take your hand off the mouse to do the arrow keys, or you have to stop turning to do Alt and then do the thing. So I was like, okay, so they kill my shields and I'm like, fuck. So I start boosting off in a direction trying to get, and I'm just now starting to like reroute power when I die. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll load back in. I'll, do pretty much exactly what you said. And then when I loaded back, it was before I had made the jump. I make the jump and then they're not there.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, I guess fuck it. I don't know. Yeah. Fine. So I never had to deal with it again. But yeah, and it could be, again, I did say I was on hard, so I think I brought this on myself in terms of damage. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So far, hard has felt relatively balanced, though, in terms of dishing out damage and receiving damage, I would say, which is nice. But I don't know. We'll see. I would like to get more involved with the space stuff.
Yeah, me too. That's one of my next goals is I want to set up an outpost and sort of get that going for resource management. And then I want to do ship stuff too. It's just all really expensive.
It is. Yeah, I looked at what it cost to buy a ship and I was like, huh. But I think I'm up to like 60,000 credits now or something. So I'm not like broke, but it's also not enough to really do.
It's not enough.
I think you can buy parts for a decent amount cheaper than that. Like I noticed like some ship parts are like between like 1,000 and 2,000. I guess for individual components, like a missile launcher or whatever.
Right. Like yeah. It depends. But yeah.
Anyway, it's a good game. There's a lot that I still don't know. There's a lot I'm figuring out. It's funny that this is coming off the heels of Baldur's Gate 3 because they're both extremely dense, extremely mechanically broad games, but in such opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yep.
They're not comparable at all, but
no.
I've enjoyed them both.
Maybe the dialogue stuff you could draw.
Oh my god,
comparisons a little better, but compare and contrast. But other than that, no.
I mean, the character writing in Baldur's Gate 3 is like fucking, at least TV show level.
Yeah.
The character writing in Starfield is like fucking children's show. I don't even know what to say. Like it's like watching like Star Wars Rebels or something. Yeah. You're just like, holy fuck, dude, this is embarrassing. I did not watch. No, I didn't.
God,
I'm sorry.
God damn it.
I'm sorry. Well, I will. I've decided that I'm gonna have to do it.
Yeah, it's a good time. I think this is like some of the most I've enjoyed Star Wars since like when Mandalorian first came out, and that was something kind of like, oh, this is an interesting little take on what Star Wars could be. That's kind of how I feel about this, except like more classic Star Wars than I think Mandalorian is.
Yeah, it's true. We didn't know how good we had it in season, because I didn't even really like season 1 of Mandalorian that much, but we didn't know how good we had it until mainline characters started showing up and fucking everything up. That was how I feel about the Mandalorian.
Yeah. I like Mandalorian just fine, but
it's kind of nice when you didn't know anybody's name. Like,
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like, these are just a bunch of people living their life in Star Wars. And you're like, cool, man, cool. And then by season 2, they're like, Luke Skywalker's here. And you're like, I wish I was dead. Actually, more specifically, I wish the people in charge of Star Wars at Disney were dead. But
yeah, that I agree with. That would be nice.
I'll watch it. I don't know.
It's a good time.
There's
a few things we can shit on. There's a lot of things we can be like, that was cool.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm anti-fun, so I don't know.
Hey, maybe it's not fun.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
In other news, I've been playing more Remnant. In fact, I've beaten it.
Wow.
That is a good game.
I would like to do that, actually, but I'm
sure you would.
Have not had the time.
Oh, yeah.
I have not had the time to play Remnant. All of my limited... When was the last time I played Remnant? August 5th. Damn, that was a while ago. Yeah, man. My limited amount of game time has to go to the games that I want them to go to. And Remnant 2, I agree with you. It is a good game. It is good. I like it.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. I think it's only gotten better. And I've learned more about how it functions now. So that sci-fi world
Mm-hmm.
that we've been to, I've now been to it another time on like someone else's world, right? So I've now seen like so many versions of it.
Yeah.
And it's literally completely different for each of us. Like
Amazing.
obviously it all looks the same, but in terms of the bosses we're coming across, the way the map is designed, like it's all been different.
Yeah.
And it's like blowing my mind a little bit.
Yeah, I did learn that there is basically a random pool of bosses for each world that it kind of pulls from when it generates your seed or whatever, your world seed. And it's amazing the number of combinations that are possible from that. So
and then that area with the light and the dark half, and you can fight this guy or that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You remember when I went through that area, I didn't even get that. Like just stuff like that. Like my entire experience has been so different. What? So different.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, yes. So this game has so much. And did you see when I posted in Discord, I found the back rooms?
I did. And I actually, unfortunately, I didn't say this at the time, but I had already known that was in there from somebody else.
I didn't know. And so that was all a genuine surprise to me when I found that stuff. And it's been so much fun. I genuinely really like this game a lot.
Good. Yeah, and I saw some patch notes where they changed some of the balancing and stuff like that. I do want to get back into it. That'll be something. Like once I'm done with Baldur's Gate, I think that's the big thing that's just weighing me down right now is I do need to see that through before I lose momentum on it and
for sure.
Things like that. But once I'm done with that, I would like to get back into Remnant because I did enjoy it. Like I legitimately had a really good time playing that game, especially co-op. I did play it a bit by myself and it didn't have the same feel, I think.
Yeah. It's fun to like explore it a little bit, but yeah, when it comes to the gameplay, I think it's just designed for co-op almost. It just helps to have the split aggro and stuff, and it feels a lot better that way. Oh, and I've learned basically medic is necessary. Like, maybe not all the time, but there's just certain things where you have to have a heal on your team. When I've played with randoms a few times now, and all of them are half medic, half something else, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
That was like the first additional class that I wanted to unlock when I hit that point. I was like, all right, it's got to be medic or nothing. So it makes sense. Cool. I'm glad to hear you liked it. We'll play more. It's actually something that I would like to. I think once I'm done with because Starfield will kind of always be there. Like I'm not worried about making progress at like a rapid pace in that because that usually like a single player game like that or like Elden Ring, I like to pick my way slowly through it and just kind of enjoy it at my own pace, not rush it. Like a few hours here and there. But Baldur's Gate, it felt like, especially playing with someone else, it felt like the momentum had to be consistent or we were gonna. Especially because the save is on Paul's computer, so if I fuck around too much, I do not get that save. Which is a dumb way to run that game, by the way. I think they should give copies of the save to both players, but whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but once I'm done with that, I think I'll have a lot more. Like, I want to get back into Ready or Not. I'd really like to see.
Yeah. Me and Tran have been playing a lot of that.
I want to get some more of that going. A new faction just came out, not a new faction, but some new mechanics and lords just came out in Warhammer as well. And I think that game is fucking fantastic. Which is something we haven't really talked about on here at all, but I think about that game constantly, which is hilarious. There's a lot of games and there's stuff coming out still. Armored Core. Dude, neither of us have played fucking Armored Core.
Yeah, I can wait.
I mean, I hear you, but it is strange. Like,
I don't think it's strange.
Like, we're the From Software dick suckers, dude.
Yeah, but
We owe it to them.
no, I don't. They owe me, dude. They owe me a dick suck.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Well, they gave it to you. It was called Elden Ring, and it lasted for 120 hours or whatever. You're still playing Elden Ring, I bet.
Yeah, I am. I was just playing that the other day.
But,
yeah. No, I'm just good. It's bad timing with other big releases, and then it's also just from what I've heard, like a 15 to 20 hour game, and I don't necessarily care about Armored Core.
I talked to Tran yesterday, and he was saying that there's multiple endings, multiple playthroughs, and so
sure. But
when you beat it once, if you play it again, there's different choices.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool, but it's still like a lot of money for like a 15 to 20 hour playthrough, even if you can play it more than once. Whereas like the comparable games right now are the same amount of money for hundreds of hours of content.
It's true. Yeah.
And when you weigh those things side by side, it's just like there's really not even a question in my mind.
Well, I'm not even like a
time for Armored Core. So
that's the thing for me. It's more time than money, but I think
for sure. Trying to save money is the thing. I don't want to buy it and then not play it until it's on sale anyway. So.
I mean, I'm sick. I've already written it off as an eventual expense. But like the thing for, I think for both of us too, that hasn't been said yet is that we're not, like, I played Armored Core a bit when I was a kid, but I'm not an Armored Core franchise person. Like, I'm not a fan. And I'm definitely not generally a mecha game person. I've played some Mech Warrior in my youth as well, like 2 and 3. But it's
I can't really think of one I've ever played, actually, now that you say that. Maybe like if Nier Automata counts with its kind of like mechy segments, but
you know what's funny that you say that too? Based on what I've seen, that I could see a lot of parallels being drawn between Armored Core 6 and Nier Automata.
Yeah, the gameplay looks very similar. Very, very similar.
And it's the lead designer and the gameplay designer from Sekiro as well. So there's a lot of that kind of DNA in it. So by all accounts, it seems sweaty, which is not something I think I'm ready for right now. But
that's the thing too, is I don't really, from what I've heard, it's like certain bosses and or situations are going to require you basically to do certain loadouts, almost in a similar way that Sekiro kind of requires you to have certain things to have easier times with certain parts or do certain strategies. And it's just like, no, I like to do it my way. I like to throw myself at the wall my way, not your way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I think I'll play it one day, but it's pretty low on my list considering what else is coming as well.
All right.
Liza P and stuff like that.
Forgot about that. Yeah, it's pretty soon.
It's gonna be on Game Pass.
We'll wrap up here in a second, but let's see.
Yeah.
What else? What's the rest of the year looking like? Okay, Starfield. Baldur's Gate comes out on the PS5 on the same day that Starfield releases.
Nice.
Did you know there's a Monster Hunter Now mobile game coming out on September 14th?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I did not know that.
Monster Hunter Go, baby.
Is that what it is?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So Niantic is making it as well, or is it a different
studio? know if it's Niantic or not, but from what I've heard, it is essentially a Pokemon Go-esque.
Mortal Kombat 1 on September 19th, same day as Lies of P.
Wow.
So the
Mortal
19th.
Kombat already. Holy shit. You're the fighting games.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what's funny? I was listening to a Bombcast from 2008, and it was the same exact conversation.
That happens to me a lot.
Because it was Street Fighter 4 and what was that? Mortal Kombat. I think it was Mortal Kombat versus DC that year.
Yeah, it was something around that. But that happens to me a lot where I'll be listening to a podcast from like this week, and then the same show, you know, I'll go and listen to something like I have another like almost like another playlist, but they're not separate, but another chunk of the playlist I haven't listened to from years ago.
Yeah.
And so it'll autoplay to those once it's done with the new ones. And the conversations will be almost the same, but from years ago. And that always trips me out. I'm like, damn, dude, the simulation couldn't think of anything fresh.
Yeah, it is nuts. Yeah, we're in a cycle for sure. So Liza P also September 19th. I guess I'll try that. I have no idea. I'll listen to what you say about it and make my decision there.
Yeah.
Payday 3, which I have almost no interest in, September 21st. Nope. Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, September 26th.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Do I do a full new playthrough of that game and do the DLC?
I'm going to look into when it happens. If it's closer to the end of the game, I probably won't do a whole new thing. If it's something that you can kind of do earlier on or maybe halfway through and it affect the playthrough itself, then I probably will do it.
I think it's midway, is what I heard. But
okay.
Yeah, who knows? I think the main thing, again, we talked about time, but they did supposedly they're revamping a lot of the baseline mechanics. So like if I loaded into my end game character, it sounds like I would basically have to reset my entire skill tree anyway for it to make sense, because they're redoing every skill tree.
Things,
So
and I mean, that game is just genuinely so good, and it's not game. Very
I like
long
it
compared to things like Starfield. Like, you don't need to sit down for 100 hours to finish Cyberpunk.
It's true. Although when I did my other playthrough of it, I did spend about 90 hours. But
right, I played a bunch as well, but it doesn't like ask that of you. It's just we wanted to do that, but it's not asking much. If you just sit down and do the main quest, it would not take very long to probably get to the DLC and really take advantage of all that.
Let's see. That's it for September. October 5th, we have
Phasmophobia.
Is that a what?
Sorry. No,
is that a thing?
Go on. Yeah, it's coming out on console in October.
Oh, is it really? I haven't seen it. Well, maybe it's further in the month, so I haven't seen it yet.
With crossplay.
Oh, cool. Assassin's Creed Mirage, October 5th.
Which one's that one?
That is the one that's like 3 again. Like old school. Like 1 again, basically, I guess I should say.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like 1, 2.
Yeah.
October 5th. Detective Pikachu Returns, October 6th. The new Forza, October 10th. I'll actually play that. Lords of the Fallen, October 13th. If you want your souls fixed, that game does actually look all right. Marvel Spider-Man 2, October 20th. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, October 20th.
Jesus.
Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. I didn't actually realize that was coming out so soon. Isn't that that's the dwarf one, right?
Yeah,
is that like
was
a building
game that looked
like a survival
almost
game?
Equally as bad as the Gollum game, but not quite.
Cities Skylines 2, October 24th. That could scratch an itch that I might have. Same day also is Metal Gear Solid, the Master Collection Volume 1, which I will certainly get. October 25th is the Alone in the Dark game that has like a famous guy in it. I forget his name right now. Did you notice that? Anyway, it's weird. I think it was E3 that I saw some stuff from that, but
it's actually Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it should be. Ghost Runner 2, which I have Ghost Runner 1 and have never played it, but people liked that game. Here's the bigger deal for me in specific. Alan Wake 2, October 27th.
Woo!
That is hard to believe that's even happening, much less only 1 month away. Or a month and a half, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be here very soon.
It will. Yeah, it will. Yeah. So that's the next couple months. I'm not gonna get there's still some stuff in November, December, but not a lot, not as much as would normally be in those months. You know what I mean? But we get another Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So, and I think that Persona 5 Tactics game comes out. Yeah, November 17th. So, I don't know. But I saw some people saying they think Counter-Strike is going to come out in the next month or so as well. Counter-Strike 2. I know you don't care about that. I'll play it.
No.
I'll
like fun.
play it. I hate fun. And that's the motto here at the Infinite Scale Podcast. Thanks for listening. I hate fun. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Crossley. Good catching up. I feel like in the next between the time right now and the next time we talk, I will have finished Baldur's Gate, but more importantly, we'll both have put more time into Starfield, so we'll have some more impressions for that.
For sure.
All right, man. Peace. Sick. You got... Oh, fuck. Wait.
Yeah,
before
I
you...
forgot to record.
You forgot?
Yeah.
God damn it. Okay, good. It's a good thing I was doing the backup.
Yeah.
Okay. There is a quality difference, I was going to say. Did you notice?
Sure,
Did you notice? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.